Let's continue with question number 7. What is place of articulation? Place of articulation is the exact place or location in the oral tract at which a sound is produced. Okay? Number 8, what are labial sounds? Labial sounds are sounds which involve somehow the lips, either both the upper and the lower lip or just the lower lip, for example. Bilabial sounds, which is question 9, on the other hand, are sounds which involve both the lower lip and the upper lip, and they are a type of labial sound. In English, we have 4 bilabial sounds. P, P, B, B, P, which is voiceless, B, which is voiced, which is voiced, but it's also nasal because the air is expelled out the nasal cavity, and W, 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 which is also voiced, and it's oral because the air is expelled out the oral cavity or the mouth, but it's kind of a vowel, more like a vowel than a consonant. It's called a semi-vowel, and it involves lip rounding. W, W. Question on the next slide, on slide 2, we have question 10. What are labiodental sounds? Labiodental sounds, as the name might suggest, involve both the lower lip and the upper teeth. The lower lip touches the upper teeth. And in English, we have 2 labiodental sounds, f and v. F, v, f, v. F is voiceless, v is voiced. Number 11, what are interdental sounds? Interdental sounds are sounds in which the tip of the tongue sticks through the upper and the lower teeth. And we have th and th. Th is voiceless, whereas th is voiced. Remember that interdental sounds are sounds used to pronounce combinations of TH. However, there is a short list of exceptions in which TH might be used to spell a word, but it might not be pronounced either th or th, as in the case of words such as Thomas and Teresa, for example. What are alveolar sounds? Alveolar sounds are the sounds which are most commonly produced in all of the world's languages. So most sounds in the world's languages are alveolar sounds. And we have several. We have, okay, before I tell you the names of these sounds, alveolar sounds are sounds in which the tip of the tongue or the blade touches the alveolar area or the alveolar ridge, which is the area immediately behind the upper teeth. Okay, we have T, T, and D, D. T is voiceless, whereas D is voiced. Then we have N, which is voiced but nasal. Then we have S and Z. S is voiceless, Z is voiced. And finally we have R, 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 which is known as the tap or the flap, because what it is a single hit or a single tap of the tongue tip against the alveolar ridge. Okay? Question number 13 asks, what are post-alveolar sounds? As the name suggests, post-alveolar sounds are sounds produced immediately behind the alveolar ridge, in the post-alveolar region. And we have the sounds sh, normally spelled sh, sh, but also spelled tion, as in introduction, for example, or s, as in sugar. Okay? We have zh, zh, which is its voiced counterpart. So we have sh, zh, sh, zh, sh, zh, sh is voiceless, Z is voiced. We don't have either one of these 2 sounds in Spanish. However, I think it's easier for us to pronounce sh, because we could say sh, but Z we never use. Z, is voiced and is post-alveolar. Examples of zh are measure, treasure, garage. Okay? This is a sound that we might struggle with. Okay? Because it's hard to predict its spelling, and also because we simply don't have it in Spanish. Other post-alveolar sounds are the ch and j. Ch, j. Ch is voiceless, whereas j is voiced. J is normally used to pronounce words spelled J, as in January, joke, Jane. Okay? And finally, we have which occurs a little farther back because it involves curling of the tip of the tongue. As in red and rich. Question 14 asks, what are some spellings of the sound f? Obviously, the letter F is pronounced f, as in Friday and flower and free. But f is also spelled, as you might recall, PH, as in phonetics or phonology or photograph. And it might also be spelled GH, as in rough, enough, cough. Number 15 asks, when is the tap used? I just said that the tap is a single tap against the alveolar ridge. It is used to substitute either t or d when they occur in between two vowels. Therefore, by definition, it is not a phoneme, but it's called an allophone, which means that it's a variation of one sound. So you could say water or water. They're both correct. It's just a matter of choice, a matter of dialectal difference. Okay? 16 asks, what are examples of z which are not spelled z? Obviously, we have words such as zoo and zest, which are clearly z and spelled z. But many words are pronounced z, yet they're spelled s. Especially verbs such as is, was, has, okay, does, goes, third person singular is also often pronounced z. Number 17, when is the sound zh used? Zh. I just told you that zh is the voiced counterpart of sh. And in Spanish, we don't have either one. But zh is much more difficult because it's difficult to predict it. However, zh is used in words such as the end in S-I-O-N, single S-I-A-O-N, such as in television, vision, conclusion, invasion, division. Okay? Of course, it's also used to pronounce words that are spelled G, as in garage, for example. Okay? And that's when it becomes difficult. But we will see more lists of words later on, I think maybe today or next class. Okay? Number 18, what is the phonetic symbol used to pronounce the words that follow? So they are spelled CH, but remember that some words, a small number, but important to know, are not pronounced ch, but sh. And these words are exactly words that exemplify that exception, namely chef, Chevrolet, and Chicago, pronounced sh. Finally, what is the symbol used to represent the underlined letters in the following words? So the first one is mission. Mission. It's a sh. Notice how the spelling is S-S-I-O-N as compared to vision, vision, spelled S-I-O-N, only one S, and that's normally pronounced Z. Also, pleasure, pleasure. In other words, spelled S-U-R-E, as in treasure, for example. Version, version, again spelled S-I-O-N. Passion, passion, spelled S-S-I-O-N. Okay, that's it for the warm-up exercise. We're going to quickly review what we left off regarding description of consonant sounds in English last week. We were talking about post-alveolar sounds, remember? Sh, r, ch, j, and as you can see on slide 3. Okay, I also explained that this picture is not 100% accurate because the tongue should be placed a little behind where it is, but that's the best picture I could come up with for post-alveolar sounds. Again, sh, r, ch, j, Okay, we also talked about the examples that are listed on slide number 4, and we said that we need to be careful because sh is normally spelled as H, but it might also be spelled CH in a few exceptional examples or words. And it also is used to pronounce words which are spelled S, as in sugar, for example. Okay. We also said that ch is normally used to pronounce words which are spelled CH, but there are some words spelled CH which might be pronounced sh, and those are the ones that you need to be careful with. Okay, and finally there is a note on slide 4 which we already talked about that says that sh might also be spelled T, as in introduction, directions, and attention. Okay, remember that sh is a soft, gentle sound. On slide 5 we already talked about the fact that j is normally used to pronounce words spelled J, as in June, Jane, and jungle. Although it might also be used to pronounce words that are spelled G, as in indigenous, region, and agent. However, Z is normally used to pronounce words that are end in S-I-O-N, as in illusion and envision and conclusion, whereas sh is used to pronounce words which are spelled S-S-I-O-N or double S in different contexts, such as in mission, permission, and issue. Here you are asked to come up with examples of words which might be pronounced sh, j, ch, and j. And I welcome you to, I encourage you to send me those words when you come up with a list. If you want to record yourself reading them, that would be great. Don't get frustrated if you think this is difficult, because these sounds are indeed the most difficult consonant sounds in the English language. Good luck with that, and I will see you guys on the next video to practice these post-alveolar sounds.